You feel lost, don't you? Like you're walking through a storm with no umbrella, and no idea where the road even leads. But what if I told you, you're exactly where you're supposed to be? Life doesn't always make sense. Sometimes it feels unfair, confusing, even cruel. You work hard, pray harder, do all the right things, and still, nothing seems to move. People leave. Plans fall apart. Doors slam shut. And you start wondering, God, do you even hear me anymore? But listen carefully, this video is not here to give you empty words. This is your reminder that God's silence is not his absence. That there's a bigger picture being painted, and you, yes you, are part of something far greater than you can see right now. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been through something that made no sense at the time, only to look back months, or even years, later and say, ah, now I get it? That moment right there. That's a glimpse of God's plan unfolding. You see, we often think life should be linear. A straight path. You pray right pointing arrow you get it. You try right pointing arrow you succeed. But God doesn't work like Amazon Prime. He doesn't do fast deliveries. He does perfect timing. Now don't get me wrong, that doesn't make the waiting any easier. And I won't sugarcoat it. Waiting on God can feel like the loneliest, most silent season of your life. But here's the truth you need to hold on to. Your delay is not your denial. God is not punishing you. He's preparing you. Think about this. When a seed is planted, where does it go first? Underground. In the dirt. In the dark. Hidden. Forgotten. But what's happening beneath the surface? Growth. Development. Strengthening. Just like that seed, maybe right now, you're not being buried, you're being planted. And God, he's the gardener. He knows exactly when you'll break through the surface and bloom. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who lost everything, his health, his wealth, his children. He was mocked by friends, abandoned by comfort. And even though he cried out to God over and over, heaven was silent. But God was still writing the story. That man's name was Job. And despite everything, he never let go of his faith. And in the end, God restored him. Double, triple, overflow. Now you may not be Job, and your story may be different, but the message is the same. The story's not over. God isn't done with you. Sometimes we ask, why me? Why the heartbreak? Why the rejection? Why the delay? But maybe the better question is, what is this teaching me? Because here's what I've learned. God doesn't waste pain. He doesn't allow struggle for no reason. Every delay, every detour, every dead end has a purpose. And often, the things you think are breaking you, they're actually making you. When people walk away from you, maybe that's God removing the wrong ones so he can send the right ones. When the door closes, maybe it's because that room was never meant for you. When you don't get what you prayed for, maybe it's because what God wants to give you is so much better. But let's be real, faith isn't easy. Believing in a plan you can't see. Trusting a God you can't touch. That takes courage. That takes patience. That takes surrender. And surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means letting go of your timeline, your expectations, your how it should have been. It means saying, God, I don't get it. But I trust you. And that's where peace begins. Not when the problem disappears. But when you stop trying to control it. Because control is an illusion. And honestly, aren't you tired of trying to figure it all out on your own? You weren't created to carry the weight of the world. That's God's job. Now here's the hard part. Let's talk about the problem, because yeah, there is one. We live in a world that's always rushing. If it doesn't happen now, it must not be meant to be. If you're not succeeding fast, you're failing. If life isn't Instagram perfect, you're doing something wrong. And this mindset, it makes you believe that if you're not where you want to be, God must have forgotten you. But that's a lie. A big one. God hasn't forgotten you. He's forming you. And the problem is, we're addicted to outcomes, but God is committed to process. So here's the deal. You're going to have moments where you feel stuck. Where it seems like everyone else is moving ahead and you're still standing in the same place. But don't measure your life with someone else's ruler. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know what they're faking. And you definitely don't know what God has planned for you. Let me tell you what is real, though, the way God shows up when you least expect it. Sometimes it's a random conversation. Sometimes it's a sudden opportunity. Sometimes it's peace in the middle of chaos. But God always shows up. Never early. Never late. Always right on time. So here's the turning point, the moment where it all clicks. What if the setback is actually the setup? What if the closed door was protection? What if the waiting season is where you're becoming strong enough to handle the blessing? You're not just being delayed. You're being developed. And when you finally step into that thing you've been praying for, you'll see why it took so long. You'll realize that every tear, every heartbreak, every lonely night was worth it. God's plan isn't always comfortable. But it's always intentional. Let me break it down like this. That rejection, redirection. That failure, foundation. That silence, strategy. He's working behind the scenes. Even when you don't feel Him. Even when nothing seems to change. Even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts. Because pain gets your attention. But faith gives it purpose. So if you're watching this and you're in that dark place, if you're confused, frustrated, or ready to give up, pause, breathe, and listen. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. You are not a mistake. And you are not finished. This is not how your story ends. In fact, it's just the beginning. God sees what you don't. He hears what you're too tired to pray. And He's already mapped out every step ahead of you. So take that pressure off your chest. Stop thinking you have to fix everything right now. Stop thinking you missed your shot. Stop thinking it's too late. Because God's not done. You're still in the middle of the masterpiece. And masterpieces, they take time. So keep showing up. Keep trusting. Keep going. Because one day, you'll look back at this very moment, the pain, the questions, the waiting, and you'll say, now I understand. God has a plan for you. It may not look like what you expected. But it's exactly what you need. So lean in. Have faith. And remember, the author of your life has never stopped writing.